are continuing our series about what would My Hero Academia look like in the distant future. We talked about how it would kind of look like the setting of Batman Beyond or Spider-Man 2099, but how Japan would be in utter anarchy at this point. If you have not seen the first two videos, I totally recommend that you watch those first, as we kind of have created a story that today we are continuing. So make sure you check those out, and let's do this. In the previous part, Asui, Jiro, and Juzo managed to find Yayorozu and free her from her chains. Meanwhile, Midoriya, Nagamasa, Tokoyami, and Yoshindo started off running distraction outside of the building. But now some of them find themselves in a fight for their lives. After taking down a handful of henchmen and women, they each come face to face with one of the four powerful villains mentioned in part 2. First of those villains is the Dealer, with the quirk Overdose, locked in combat with Midoriya on the north side. Next is his wife, the Observer, with a quirk she calls Study Session. She guards the south side and faces off against Tokoyami. Their son, Mr. Crybaby, and his quirk Tearful Occasion are pitted against Nagamasa on the east side. Last is the Creature with the quirk Beast Mode. He battles Yoshindo on the west side. I remember you. You are the one they call Deku, All Might's successor, says the Dealer. I no longer go by that name, but I haven't forgotten you either, Dealer. You always seem to find a way to ruin the lives of my friends, though not before some of them ruin parts of yours, replies Midoriya. The last sentence causes the Dealer to touch the scars on his face. Mina Ashido Acid, I will never forget it. Melted half of my face with that quirk of hers before I was able to copy that substance. I wouldn't be the villain I am without her. She taught me everything I know about my quirk. The Dealer would have continued ranting on and on, but Midoriya finally made his move. Dashing forward, he delivers a kick to the good side of the Dealer's face and sends him flying across the battlefield. Nagamasa fares much worse than Midoriya in his fight against Mr. Crybaby. You must be the one they call Crybaby. I actually go by Mr. Crybaby now. What are you supposed to be? Some sort of furry fanatic? Spits the villain as the two stare each other down. Tell me, Crybaby, can you cry on command? Nagamasa retorts even as his hair extends towards his opponent. Unfortunately for you, I no longer need to, replies Mr. Crybaby as he pulls some vials off of his gloves. Opening one, he tosses it into the hair. The hair melts away with sizzling sound. A second attack from Nagamasa is repelled by another vial of acid. Mr. Crybaby smirks. I can do this all day, Fluffy. Elsewhere, one would think that Tokoyami's Dark Shadow has the upper hand over the support quirk like Study Session. However, the Observer is a brain with a plan for an enemy. Before Tokoyami or even his quirk can even notice her, she has him in her sights. She pulls the trigger on a funny-looking gun and focuses the beam of light, and it falls upon Dark Shadow. It screams in agony as the woman speaks. Dark Shadow has always fascinated me. How can a quirk create a whole separate sentience? It must be some sort of mental illness. I'm gonna need you to stay there for at least 30 seconds. On the west side, Yoshindo stands amidst a scene of broken ground and people. His breathing is heavy. He looks like he might just fall over. The man's eyes slowly scan his surroundings. They take note of a giant bird coming toward him. He watches it, thinking that its size is odd. Then the head shifts into that of a wolf. He murmurs to himself, "Yep, that's not natural. Time to test out that new trick I've been working on." Yoshindo extends one arm and steadies it with the other. Unseen molecules, mostly nitrogen and oxygen, begin to vibrate. The vibration creates heat, which causes an updraft, forcing the bird up and over him. It shifts into a humanoid form, still covered in fur. Landing gracefully like a cat, Creature stares at his opponent. He lets out a growl and charges, swiping with his claws. He finds an arm caught in his enemy's grip. He snarls, "You wouldn't." "I don't have time to play nice," says Yoshindo. As he activates his quirk, Creature does not hear the man. Instead, his own screams fill his ears, while the molecules in his arm vibrate so hard that his cells split apart. The villain falls to the ground, blood flowing from his missing limb. Inside the building, Asui, Jiro, and Juzo are making their way out. Still in Juzo's arms is the unconscious Yaoyorozu. They come to form in the hall. Asui and Jiro stop for a moment, but Juzo continues on. He calls back, "Come on, this way!" The other two follow, but Asui asks, "How do you know that this is the right way?" Juzo hesitates for a moment, but replies, "I remember the layout from the mission briefing." Asui and Jiro stop in their tracks. Jiro commands Juzo to put down Yaoyorozu, followed by, "There was no building layout discussed in the mission briefing. Mind bender?" The mind-controlled Juzo sneers and says, "I guess I messed that up. No matter, I am not just going to do as you ask. You never said please." Asui's tongue flicks out and wraps around Yaoyorozu, yanking her from Juzo's hands. Jiro wastes no time in unleashing a sound-based attack upon her possessed comrade. The sound overwhelms the psychic and causes her to break concentration, freeing Juzo's mind from her grip. He falls to his knees as he regains control. He whispers his thanks as his friends ask if he can walk. Nodding, he stands and follows them down the corridor. It ends at a closed door. Jiro activates her quirk, listening for anyone on the other side. After a moment, she says, "All clear, let's get out of here." The group opens the door to find the outside. They take off running. No one gives chase and they quickly make it to safety. Jiro holds back, but only long enough to unleash the loudest attack she can back at the building. The sound bounces around, reverberating through and around the building. It signals to those in battle that the mission is complete. As the sound travels, it gets weaker, but it is enough to distract those in combat. It gives all four what they need to escape. Hours later, all of them sit inside Midoriya's home, inside of the safe zone. Yaoyorozu stirs and asks for some water. She sips it for a moment. Then, with tears of relief falling from her eyes, she expresses her gratitude to those that came to her rescue. The group of former heroes spend the rest of the night in celebration. By the end of the night, all of them are convinced that Anarchy Japan can still be saved. But the measure needed will be drastic. While they don't plan another mission just yet, all 8 are now devoted to the cause. So guys, this is what we got for this series. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, see what would happen in this futuristic, My Hero Academia universe, I want you to make sure that you can get this video at least 1,000 likes, and I'll make sure to continue this series. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. Guys, make sure that you like this video, make sure that you comment below, and make sure that you subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you never miss a video, and we will see you guys next time.